Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Mary and I'm going to talk about everything personal finance, knitting, and reading on here. Today is going to be one of those personal finance videos. It's going to be my paycheck routine. Today is the 20th of January and I just got paid. So I've got my coffee, my diary, and my laptop so I can look at my budget. A few things to know before I start is I am currently living at my family home in Devon while I wait for a green card. My husband is American and I will be moving over there hopefully later this year, provided all goes well. So in the sort of interim, I have been living at home, which has been an absolute blessing. My dad does not request any rent or anything from me, which I'm incredibly fortunate to be in that position. So instead, there will be a line that says rent on it. That is a saving line item for me, but it's also a placeholder for when I do go back to paying rent. I've just been putting money aside for like the first couple months rent when I do eventually move to the States with my husband. First of all, I look at my paycheck. This time I got paid £1,731.65. I did take one day of unpaid during December because I was all out of annual leave. And I still wanted I wanted a particular day off around the Christmas period. So it is a little bit lower than normal. Then the first thing I do is I check this. I check my diary. I see what I am doing in February. A lot of the time I do know, but it's nice to check just in case there's any birthdays I've forgotten, things like that. So I'll always flip to February because I fill this out as early as I can in the year. So all my birthdays and everything is in here. So for February, the big thing that's happening is I am going on a snowboarding trip right at the end of the month with my sister. So there will be some expenses related to that this month. My niece's birthday is in this month, and then it is mine and my husband's 2-year anniversary. Now, I don't actually have to do anything for that because we celebrated when I was out in the Bay Area a couple of weeks ago. We just celebrated early while we were together because we knew we weren't going to be together for this year's anniversary. But other than that, there's currently no plans in my diary, which means I think I might start off February with a couple of no-spend weeks. So the first things that come out, or I plan for when I get my paycheck, is I pay my credit card off. So this month I was obviously in the Bay Area. I put all travel expenses on my American Express card, just for the added protection, but also both of my British bank accounts charge you for international fees. So I choose to put it all on my American Express and then I pay it off at the end of the month. So first thing I'll do is pay that. That is going to be £676 this month. It is quite high. I did go a little bit over budget when I was traveling. It's fine. I do have quite a lot of travel savings. So if I feel like once I've paid everything from my paycheck, I need that little bit of an extra boost, I'm more than happy to take £100 out of my savings or £200 out of my savings to do that because I did spend it on travel and I never really have any issue with that. So the first thing I'll do is pay my credit card before it even gets billed. A lot of my bills print at zero for my credit card. That's how I operate. The next thing I do is I schedule my car insurance payment. We have a joint car insurance with my dad, like me and my sister, and so I just send my dad the money every month on the 1st. So I schedule that to come out on the 1st automatically. That is £50. I drive a small little Polo. It doesn't cost a lot to put on the road. The next thing I do is then I look at my February budget and make some changes based on how much money I have left over. How much I'm going to be able to save, how much I'm going to be able to spend on groceries, things like that. Because I'm planning potentially to do 2 no-spend weeks, I don't think we'll have a huge amount coming out this month for things like groceries and things like that. But my expenses for more like wants are going to be higher. So I'll put it up here, but in my budget, I have it set out into savings, needs, wants, and debt. So my savings, I normally do at this time of the month. This on January, I did it at the beginning of the month because I was fortunate to receive some money for Christmas. So I don't have to worry about my savings this paycheck, but next at the end of February, the first thing that comes out of my paycheck is always going to be my savings. And then in my needs, we've got car, this is insurance, road tax, and a monthly parking pass that me and my sister share, so we can go to work and not pay an extortionate amount of money in the city. And then I have my groceries, health and wellness, this is my gym membership, and my annual form membership will come out in February, just because I changed over from monthly to annual because they had a sale on in January. So that will be 70 something pounds. And I've got petrol, that is higher than normal this month because we are driving to the Snow Dome in Tamworth from Devon next week. And I know that will take more petrol than we would usually use. Usually this budget is about 100. I put 150 just to give us some leeway to get to and from the Snow Dome, plus any driving to and from the airport when we go to Chamonix. My phone bill, that is £10 a month. I want a pay-as-you-go eSIM. And then my rent category is 150. Like I said, this just gets set aside for basically specifically saving for like first couple months rent when I get to the States in case that I don't get a job really quickly. And then my final thing is £25 I put on transport. Sometimes I do get the train to and from work, and so I like to have about 3 days worth of train tickets set aside in my budget. The next budget is what I call beauty and fashion this month. It is £10. I set this aside for at-home wax strips. Most months I do also have a standing wax appointment February because of the way timings worked out. I don't have to go, so it's only £10 this month. Then we've got £30 for coffee. This is coffee out. I am setting a rule this month where I can only go and get coffee out if I'm going to be taking a seat either with some knitting or a book. Eating out, 15. Again, this is very much like if I forget my lunch at home, I'm allowed to go and get a meal deal from Tesco's. Because I'm going traveling at the end of the month, I'm not doing anything else that would require a large amount of spending where possible. Entertainment is 25. This is for my Spotify, and then I allow myself £15 buffer in case I want to buy like a new game or something. I do pay things like Stardew Valley, or maybe there's a movie coming out that I want to see. That's what that is for. Most of the time it comes in under budget at just my Spotify account, but in case. Gifts, I've got a budget of £50 this month. My dad's birthday is in March, and I'm planning on knitting him an Oslo hat. So I need to order the yarn and get that made. I may also be ordering yarn to make my sister a Oslo hat as well. So £50 should be about the right amount to order that much yarn from Knitting for Olive, including any shipping or anything like that. Hobbies, 0, because of the yarn I'm buying for my next knitting projects are gifts. That comes under the gift budget, not the hobby budget, but normally yarn for myself, that's where that gets put. Miscellaneous, £25. This is anything. Last month my miscellaneous was really high because I had to do quite a few things in regard to my green card that I wasn't anticipating having to do yet because we got approved a little earlier than we thought. So I've had to pay for a whole bunch of police certificates, getting my fingerprints taken to get some police certificates. So there was a little bit more than initially anticipated in my January budget. And then travel, I budgeted $575 for my total for Chamonix. The hotel is $151. My portion of the hostel rather is $151. The ski passes, it should come to around $275 if I skied every day, pounds. Could be a little bit more. It depends which pass I go for. I might go for the pass that allows me to go into multiple countries, which will cost me a little bit more, but we'll see how I feel when I get there. I will buy a pass on the day because I may want to take a day off. I'm not sure yet. I'm pretty committed. And then I've got a little bit of leeway for things like food and drink. We are very much going to be bringing our own snacks onto the lifts, that sort of thing. We're doing this on a budget. I have all the gear, but we are doing this on a budget. And then the final thing is debt repayment. I have 2 credit cards. I've got my American Express and I have a joint American Express with my husband. My American Express is all paid off, finally. So I spent the last year doing that. This year the goal is to pay off our joint American Express. This contained a lot of expenses that were related to us having to move from Canada last minute, and we just didn't have the cash to pay for them, and unfortunately they went on American Express card with quite a high interest rate. So the main goal right now is to start paying that down. This month I'm only putting £50 towards that, just because we've already paid. My husband will hit the minimum and then I put an extra £50 towards that. Next month in March, when I'm not traveling, I will be able to put a lot more money towards things like savings and debt repayment. Overall, my total budget for February based on my paycheck is £1,720. That is about £10 less than what I got paid. I always aim for about a £10 buffer and then try to come in under budget. It is what it is. Sometimes I do make a little bit of extra money. I occasionally do sell some of my books on eBay, YouGov surveys, and I use Apple as well for a little bit of like extra pocket change. It doesn't earn me a huge amount, but all of those earnings automatically go into savings. So that is the end of my payday routine. That is how I budget. I'm budgeting my money for the month in February. At the end of next month to go over my paycheck then.